What's in the stars and the cards ahead for you this week? Welcome, welcome. As you pop in, say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. It is a wonderful joy to come together every Monday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern in community and raise our vibe, connect to our intuition, and navigate life by the stars. So, hello and welcome. Let's just talk about the overarching energy of this week. And I'm going to encourage all of my empathic viewers take a deep breath and exhale. One of the things I've noticed is that as a sensitive, as a big feeler, sometimes, empaths feel like they're very sensitive, more so than most people. It's hard to take those deep breaths. It's almost as if we take a deep breath, we'll feel even more. Think of it like the old days when we'd get a shot, it'd be like, okay, hold your breath and tense. And what we've realized is that if you take that approach and that method, it'll actually hurt even more. So breathe, because what you're doing is every inhale, you're bringing in more life force. The yogis call it prana, that breath, that oxygen. It's helping your brain have more clarity. It's helping your muscles work more effectively. It's lowering blood pressure and cortisol, getting you out of that fight or flight situation so you can be present and you can respond rather than be reactive. And when you naturally take those deep belly breaths, you are in the process of grounding. And grounding just means I'm present, I'm in my body, I'm fully aware, I'm not checked out, head not in the clouds, head not down in the phone, but I am here in conversation with the person across from me, with God universe, with my angels, my guides. That is so key as an empath. Because the other really amazing thing is that as you ground and you take those deep breaths, you find that the energy around you doesn't affect you in the same way. And there's a lot going on in the world right now, and it has become a very reactive time. And it's hard not to catch the emotions and the energy and the feelings of everybody around us. It's so easy to get caught up in what I call the group mind or that collective consciousness. So grounding is a key piece on how to really become present and stop riding that roller coaster of emotions. So really quickly, if you haven't had a chance to download, I have a free practice. It's my gift to you that I love to share. It's my most requested one for grounding. It's irenamiller.co/get calm. And it's just down there in the bottom left-hand corner. You can listen to it, 2-minute guided visualization to help you maintain good energetic hygiene and strengthen your energetic boundaries. And that's what this week ahead is really about. If you like QR codes, by the way, you can scan the little QR code in the corner, and that'll bring you to the same practice. But this week is about releasing, refining, realigning. This is a week where we had the full moon last week. We had a culmination, a celebration, something came to a head, and now we're getting ready for the new moon next week. So that means we have to make space for the new dreams and the new projects, the new goals. If we're still cluttered up with all of the old, like if we didn't release it, we're not going to have the time, the energy, or the space to make room for what's coming in, what is being desired to be made into a physical creation. So think about this time as, yes, naturally going inward. You're reviewing, you're refining. What do I need to release? This is your cue to really simplify and to not rush. Simply refine what already exists rather than creating more, or doing more, or buying more, or learning more. Breathe in and exhale, and just take a moment to see what's around you. And hello, Julie. So glad you made it live. And hello, Jazz. So glad you're here with us. So placing your hand on your heart, I've got the Halloween cards. I don't know why I didn't bring them out already. I love these. Great time of year to use them. So let's take advantage of this beautiful energy. And I'm going to just invite you to tune into your heart. And we're just going to ask, what's the most important thing that you need to know going into this week ahead? And I see who kind of jumps up. Let's see, this guy is calling to me. And maybe this, oh, all right, let's see what's coming out here. Ooh, the Hierophant or Hierophant, depending on how you like to pronounce it. Tomato. It's that beautiful card that represents tradition. Like, this is the way. This is the way things were always done. These are the rules and the regulations. How I'm going to invite you to recognize this is, rather than feeling restricted by rules or regulations, discover how they actually create freedom for you, or they can protect you. Here's an example. I'll never forget, back in my early days of working corporate America, I went to work for this really hotsy-totsy, it was like a .com gold rush kind of thing, early days of coding. Anyway, long story short, they're like, you don't have to worry about vacation days or sick days. You have unlimited vacation and sick days. If you're sick, just take off. If you're going out of town, just go, right? They made it seem really open, and it was like, oh, wow, that's incredible. And what you discovered was that you actually weren't protected, because there weren't any rules or regulations around taking time off. Whether you were ill or you were going out of town, you were being, how did I want to say? Because if you took time off, people looked at you sideways. Like, even if you got into the office really early, because people like to get in late and work late, because we here on the East Coast would work with a lot of people on the West Coast, so you'd be working later hours. So even if you got in like at 6 or 7 in the morning, if you didn't stay till like 7 at night or 6 at night, people looked at you sideways like, where are you going? So there weren't very many rules or regulations to protect people in the end. So sometimes having those containers and boundaries can really help. So notice what you might have been resisting. Maybe it's a routine or a habit or a regime that would help you achieve a goal. Like, maybe there's a book that you want to write. So you say, okay, I'm going to set my alarm for 5, and I'm going to get up every morning. I'm going to write for a half hour. But that means I need to kind of front load the process the night before, and, make my lunch, have a good bedtime routine, go to bed at a good time, things like that. Think of it that way as you go into this week. So it's a refining week. It's not about adding more to your plate, but it's saying, okay, what do I already have? How can I make the most of it? It's something that I love. I come from a long line of ancestors and family where you learn how to make the best of a situation. And it's kind of like a MacGyver thing, where rather than going out and buying something new, you say, okay, what do I have on hand? And how can I create and make this work to fit the moment? Funny example comes to mind. I'll never forget, for Valentine's Day, my mom would take like the 2 circle pans for baking cakes, and she would make a heart out of it. So rather than buying a heart-shaped pan, you're like, okay, well, I've got 2 circles. How can I use that to make a heart? Or you do the circle in the square, or whatever it is. So long story short, you just get creative and you have fun with it. All right. So I'm going to just take a look at these other 2 cards that came up. Okay, cool. I see why they're coming up, because 2 more cards popped up about what you need to know for this week ahead. Eight of Ghosts, which is essentially the 8 of Cups. This is saying know when to walk away. So you've got this figure, their head's kind of down. They might be a little frustrated. They may feel defeated. They may feel like, I tried so hard to make it work, or I can't believe I did that. Don't let those old thoughts hold you back. It's time to walk away. I had a tarot teacher who used to say, this is the run for the hills card. I don't know that it's that urgent, but what I want to say is, sometimes, and there's also that doubling down, like we may not want to admit defeat or that we made a mistake, or we say, oh, I'm not going to look at it that way. It's a learning experience, but we just keep holding on like, no, I'll make it work. I'll make it work. I'll make it work. And the universe is saying, stop. I'm here to help. It's okay. It's okay to walk away. And the last thing that comes up, and it's just so beautiful, is the 9 of Imps, which is the 9 of Wands. Essentially what this is saying is, you're trying to do too much at once, beautiful one. It's okay to put down some of the projects and come back to them later. I'm trying to carry in too many grocery bags from the car. There's too many distractions. And I'll set goals that are, I don't want to use the word, it's not unrealistic, but it's superpower level, right? It's thinking like, I can do a bajillion things at once. It'll be okay. I've got caffeine to help me stay energized, or I'll stay up all night, or I'll catch up later, or I'll sleep when I'm dead. No. Cancel, clear, delete. Put one of the projects down, or a couple of them. You're so close to the finish line. But if you try to carry everything and keep doing it all, it's going to be much harder to get to that finish line. You're going to be exhausted. You're not going to have time to enjoy yourself along the way. And Jazz, you said, yes. Oh, in 2 weeks. Yeah. Oh, I know. 2 weeks we'll be out of Halloween energy. So glad we brought the cards out today to play. It's a wonderful time. So the overarching energy of the week, just to kind of recap, is that the moon is waning. It's going towards that new moon in Libra next week. Turn inward. Your energy might feel a little bit lower, or you might not feel as extroverted, might not want to get out there. And that's okay. Use this to build up your strength so that you have the energy for the next growing season. Just remember, you don't need to add more. You just need to make space for what's coming, for what resonates with your heart. And by the way, if we haven't met yet, my name is Irena Miller. I'm an energy alchemist, a spiritual life guide, and astrologer. It is my joy to bring the sacred practices that I've been studying, that I've been teaching my students, my clients since the 90s. It's been a few decades, to bring them to you, to refine them in such a way that you have a unique energy practice to help you in your journey. And that's what this time is really about, is coming together and feeling the subtle little shifts of intuition, of sensing the energy and learning how to navigate this world, being intuitive and empathic and not feeling like we've got to shut down or grow the thicker skin or ignore it or be scared of it. But how can you utilize it? So that's what I love to do, is to teach you the practices, show you the tools you can use, whether it's cards or pendulums or crystals or astrology. It's my joy because there's so many different ways to speak the language of intuition. All right. So Monday we kick off. The moon is a last quarter moon and it is in the sign of Cancer. So it's a very emotional day. Cancer moons are sensitive. Intuition is really, really high. So if you're getting an intuitive hit, pay attention to it. And I'm going to encourage you, write it down, because there's something it's not magical, it's really physiological that happens when you actually take pen to paper and you write. You embody it in a completely different way. I'm just going to get this off the screen. And as you embody that energy, you digest it and you understand it and comprehend it on a whole new level. So intuition, remember the 3 keys to knowing that it's an intuitive hit and not your mind just talking to you and making something up, not your ego or fears coming in or other people's beliefs, is the first thing. Intuition always comes in a quiet indoor voice. It's not yelling, it's not shouting, it's subtle. The second thing is that intuition is love-based, meaning it's not going to scare you. It's not going to say, oh my gosh, all heck is breaking loose, run for that. Like, you'll get an urgency. You might be like, oh, I should check on Sarah down the block. Let me just walk over there. And, and then you see something's going on, like there's a fire truck out there. You're like, oh no, I need to come to action and help. But intuition is love-based. Even when the craziest things have happened in my life, like crazy things that are really not so great, I would get a little intuitive hit like, check your email, or why don't you log in and see if it's so-and-so's birthday to this, social media platform. You would be like, really? No, I'm tired, or not right now. But notice this, because this is the final thing about intuition, is that it's consistent and it comes more than once. So it's not going to be like, oh, check your email, or, oh, you know what, go for a run, or, oh, you know what, go on a vacation. It's going to try, maybe it'll say it in a different way, but the message is consistent and it's repetitive. It comes more than the one time. I always look for it at least 3 times. If I get that intuitive hit and I feel it. And that's the other thing, is the language of intuition. How are these messages coming through to you? That's why I created my whole Energy Alchemist course, was to teach people, how do you speak intuition and how can you refine that and sharpen that? What are the practices? Who are you talking to? We don't want to talk to any rando energy out there. That would not be good, because not everything has your highest and best interests in mind that's floating around in the cosmos. So, how can we do this in a safe, protected, beautiful way? Well, that's what the Energy Alchemist is about. If you're curious about that, drop a little heart emoji and I'll share more with you. But For now, what I want you to know is I do have an intuitive quiz down below that you can click on. It's in the description box, where you can say, am I getting the messages through clear audience, clear hearing? Am I getting it through clear feeling, clear sentience? Am I getting the messages through clairvoyance, like an image or a picture or a dream that pops into my head? Am I getting it through clear cognizance? Am I just knowing it? So those are the 4 main big ones. There are more than that, but it's a great place to start. So moving on with Monday's energy, allow yourself to be very kind and nurturing towards yourself. You might want to be at home a little bit tonight rather than out playing. If things feel slow today, that's okay. Don't try to push against it. The big planet of transformation and power and basically ending, saying, okay, we're going to start the next adventure. Pluto is hitting the brakes up there in the heavens. He is stopping. It's called stationing direct. And all that means is he's getting ready to move forward with everything that he helped us really pick up on. You know what? I need to change this in my life. I need to step into something new. I'm ready to say goodbye to this. So he's hit the brakes. He's stopped. And we're in that beautiful liminal moment between kind of taking the next step into the next adventure and wrapping up what was the old. So wrap up loose ends this week, declutter, reply to messages, connect with family or community, or just nestle up on the couch with covers. Let's pull a card and just see how to make the most of this beautiful energy on Monday. 3 of Imps. So the 3 of Imps is a 3 of Wands. That means you've already made your decision. And I love how he's looking up at the moon. The traditional card has them looking out at the water and the ships coming in, beautiful merchant. But you have here someone who's already passed through the gate of the 2 ideas, the 2 moments of inspiration, and he's adding growth to his idea. There are the leaves on the tree, and he's looking up at the moon for the intuitive guidance. And he has his wonderful kitty cat friend there. I think of that as that symbol of intuition coming through. So we're receiving that divine guidance, and we're translating it into action. Here's the thing about intuition. So we talked about the 3 main things about how do I know it's intuition, and I'm not making it up. But the next key piece to that, is taking action on it. Well, and there's kind of a middle piece that I skipped over. It's translating it. So if you don't understand it, and again, that's what the Energy Alchemist is about, learning how to interpret. And you know what? I'm just going to put it down here. You can check out what it's all about. What do I call it? I had to think about it for a second. irenamiller.co/EA. So if you're wondering what that program's about, you can go there to look. And the Imps, great question, Jazz, are wands. So 3 of Wands. This card is saying that it's important we go back to intuition. First thing, you got to know how to know it's intuition, right? I went over that a moment ago, the 3 steps. Do I know this is intuition and not making it up? Then how do I translate it? What does it mean? Like if you're seeing the 111, the 444, the angel numbers, what does that mean? If you're seeing a penny from heaven or a feather, how do I translate that? And that's the thing. You really, we're all mediums and channels. We're receiving this guidance and we need to translate it. That's why I, do this work. I love to be the translator. I love learning languages and articulating them in a way that, you can understand, in a language that connects with you. And so once we can translate that, then we need to take action on it. And that's what this card is saying, is take action on the intuitive insights that are coming through. Trust and have faith that it's happening. You already made your decision. So as that information is coming down, we're in that translating aspect. What does this mean? Where do I need to act? What does it mean when I see 111? What does it mean when I get goosebumps? What does it mean when I get that recurring dream? What does it mean when I just feel this urgency or this like little hunch or nudge to do something? And it's practice. And it's part of the reason why I created the Moon Journal. And I'm talking about all these different things. But again, what do? I create tools and practices to help you step into the life you were born to live. So jotting these things down, writing them down can be really, really helpful. So Yeah, Monday's an interesting day. Take some time, pay attention to the intuition. Okay, moving on. Tuesday. Tuesday, the moon moves into the Leo energy. And the cool thing about Leo energy is that it's very playful, it takes pride in what it's doing, very loyal energy, also very sensitive. It wants to show up in its best way. So it can be very sensitive to other people's criticisms. Leo energy, the worst thing you could do is embarrass a Leo, especially in front of other people. So if you're feeling a little bit more sensitive or doubting yourself, take a moment, deep breath again, right? I'm going to exhale. You can even sigh when you exhale. It's a day to really tune into inspiration, creativity. Let your heart lead what you're doing that day. Leo represents the heart. It's ruled by the sun. What does your heart love? Your inner child, if it had like the day to play, what would you be longing to do? And remember that the energy you cultivate in your heart, in your mind, your attitude, that's what draws in and magnetizes the experiences to you. When you're vibrating at a certain rate, you draw in matching vibration. So like even today, like if you found this video, if you're here playing and chatting, there was some vibration happening here in this group that you matched and it came across your path. And it's so exciting. And you can see this like a real scientific type experiment where you have like two tuning forks. And you have one tuning fork over here, and let's say it's like the key of D or, whatever hertz you want, and you have a matching one over here. If you start vibrating that one, this one that matches it will also eventually start to vibrate without any mallet or touch from you. So it's fascinating to learn these things and to see them being played out with our own eyes. What vibration, what energy are you putting out into the world? It is affecting the people around you. There's a great saying that Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor wrote in her book, Stroke of Insight, which is, please be mindful, please be responsible for the energy that you bring into this place. People feel it, especially us. We really feel it. We know when something's off. So just paying attention to that. Okay, let's just take a moment. We're going to pull a card, how to make the most of Tuesday's Leo moon. 4 of Imps. So we've graduated to the next energy, which is creating stability. It's having some fun and some playfulness. So you've received the intuitive guidance. You are now setting your foundation and you're getting ready to build on it. Take a moment to celebrate, to be playful with it, to find some laughter in it. It was something that I learned early on in my energy practices is that we can become very serious very quickly. And if we're approaching our spiritual studies with this very serious mindset and a wrinkle in our forehead, we shut ourselves down intuitively. Laughter, awe, like wonder makes a huge difference in being able to receive the guidance. There's a wonderful passage in the Bible that says, be like the little children because they're the ones who can enter the kingdom of God. Meaning that playfulness, that ability to really work your imagination muscle is so imperative when you play and work in this world of intuition. If we can't imagine it, we're not going to be able to create it or manifest it. We have to have a strong imagination muscle. So a little bit of imaginary play on Tuesday too might be a little bit of fun. Okay, Wednesday is my birthday, actually. Yay! So we'll have to have some birthday fun. Maybe we'll have a tarot party soon, especially with the Halloween cards. So much fun. So that wonderful Leo moon is still with us. And one thing to take into account is we have a long void of moon Wednesday morning. So all the way from 1:06 a.m. Eastern until 2:05 p.m. Eastern. So, the major part of the workday for those on the East Coast of the US, morning for West Coast, my friends across the pond, you're getting it later in the day. But the moon being void, of course, all that means is Wednesday, don't launch new programs, don't start anything new. If you're trying to make headway on something as far as getting decisions made or major purchases, just pause. Just wait until that evening or Thursday. Because when the moon is void, of course, it just means that she's kind of chilling in the sky. She's not having conversations with any other planet. And it's in some ways, it's kind of like our intuition we're really relying on our own muscle strength rather than having assistance from conversations with other planets. So go within. It's a meditative time, a journaling time. It's trusting your own intuition without doing the research or getting the feedback from other people. So hopefully that makes sense. And we'll go ahead and we'll just pull a card for Wednesday's energy, how to make the most of Wednesday's energy. Seven of Ghosts. So the Seven of Cups. Now, isn't this interesting? So Seven of Cups is incredibly creative. This is a great card for imagination and for writers. And with that Wednesday energy, you might find a little bit, though, that if you're not grounded, or you didn't take that Hierophant kind of energy of the week saying, I need some kind of strategy as I go into the week, some kind of discipline. I'm not going to rely on willpower, but I'm going to have a strategy or a discipline to help me achieve my goal, whether it's a routine or, meal prep or whatever it is to help you get your goal. Seven of Cups is saying without that strategy or discipline, you might get lost in the weeds. You might feel a little bit like, just kind of daydreamy and maybe even confused. There might be too many options. You don't have to make a decision really on Wednesday. Utilize that Leo moon to lean into the imagination and creativity. Use it as a day for visualizing, what you want to manifest and create and feel and see it and embody it as if it were true in this moment. Use it as the kind of the imaginary play day. It's kind of like dress for the job you want, not the job you have. So that stillness, that going within can make a big difference. Thursday, the moon is still in Leo, and that Leo energy is encouraging you lead from your heart, not your ego. So again, all planets, all zodiac signs, all of us, we have high expressions, high vibe, and then we have not so high vibe expressions. And when the Leo is really vibing at that high frequency, they're in their heart and they're doing what they love, and they love what they're doing, and they're radiant and they're shining and they're full of life and they know who they are. But if it's lower vibe, they can sometimes get into that place of ego or frustration. So if you find yourself pushing too hard or wondering, why isn't it working? Why isn't it happening? Again, take those deep breaths. I see I'm getting a little bit out of focus. Ooh, holy cannoli. Let's see if I can get it back into focus. So give yourself that grace on Thursday. Remember that it's not about perfection. It's about connecting to the joy and the playfulness. I'm not even going to say the progress. We're going to say joy. Okay, so let's see. Julie, you said Wednesday's your photo shoot day. Oh my gosh. Oh, I've got chills. So Julie, yeah, really. And I know we talked about outfits and everything at one point, but really lean into, the fantasy that, like embodying. It's like you're stepping into that role fully of who you are and sharing that with the world with the photo shoot. All right, I'm going to do this to try to focus the camera. There we go. Not always looking at my screen, I'm looking at the camera. So every now and then my peripheral vision will see the blurriness, but how perfect for that energy of Wednesday. Definitely kind of blurry, a little bit hazy, but Thursday, lean into the energy of joy. Okay, I'm going to pull a card. How can you make the most of Thursday's energy? Let's see who's popping up. The Seven of Pumpkins. Aren't these fun? Seven of Pumpkins is the same as Seven of Pentacles. So this is earth energy. It's something physical and tangible. And this just says take stock. So on Thursday with that Leo moon, you're playful, you're having fun, you're remembering who you are, you're noticing where sometimes ego, and when ego shows up, okay, ego's not a bad word, by the way. Ego, energy going. Ego represents you as a unique individual. That's part of the goal of being here and being human. We come from that oneness to experience a unique expression, that individuality, still remembering that we come from the whole, from oneness, still knowing that we can connect back into that and even feel that here, but also to remember that you're a unique spirit having this experience. You have dreams and ideas and hopes and wishes that could be different from your friends and neighbors and family. Celebrating that. But when it isolates us or places us in competition with others or comparisonitis, that's when it harms us. So Thursday's energy is saying, take stock. What have you accomplished? What were your goals? Where do you want to go? What do you have in your treasure chest to help you move forward? It's a moment of pause. It's a moment of reflection. And it's interesting how these sevens are coming up. We have the Seven of Cups, we have the Seven of Pentacles, and sevens are a very intuitive spiritual number. Connect with spirit. Definitely this week. All right, Friday. Friday, the moon is in Virgo. Virgo moon. I love a good Virgo moon. It's great for organizing, cleaning, getting things in order, decluttering. Virgo is about making things efficient. So if you think about the overarching energy of the week, again, how we had that Hierophant card come up for discipline, structure, routine, strategy. Again, we're not relying on willpower or just to fate or happenstance. We're coming up with a plan, some kind of blueprint, write it down. Then from there, that Friday Virgo moon is going to say, okay, let's put this into action. We took stock on Thursday. We've got an understanding of where we are. We've tapped into spirit and intuition this week. How am I going to kind of put this together in a step-by-step way that I could get things done? One thing to remember with Friday is that your eyes might be bigger than your tummy, in the sense of you might write a long to-do list or dream list. And remember, it's okay not to complete everything on the list. I say that to myself because I love to write lists, and my lists are huge and everything's super important and it all has to be done today. And I get frustrated because it doesn't happen, because it's like superpower level saying, Irena, you're forgetting you're human at this moment. Like, you're in a human body and you need sleep and food and rest. And caffeine's only going to go so far. So you take a deep breath and you say, it's okay. I might have been a little bit over ambitious or excited. I don't have to worry about crossing everything off on my to-do list or reaching all the goals. So we're just practicing discernment with Friday's energy. You can choose, the absolute most important things to help you move the needle forward. Again, remember, simplify for success. Allow yourself to simplify this week. And for my friends out there, because I tend to attract a lot of people like myself, like if you hear like, oh, this is an easy way, there's a little bristle. It's like, I don't want the easy way out. Are you kidding me? Like, give me the hard way. Cancel, clear, delete that. Not asking for that. But there's also a great sense of accomplishment that comes from moving through a challenge, right? Like when we get to the other side, wow, I can't believe I did that. It builds resiliency and strength. Like, you're made of tough stuff. You've got grit, perseverance. Like, I can do hard things. It's incredible. We need that in this life. And I think that's why I draw and attract a lot of people who aren't afraid of doing hard things and who sometimes crave them, because it knows that in many ways, you're building certain muscles, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, that enable you to have those areas developed to manifest your dreams. If you think about, having an opportunity before you're ready, that's heartbreaking. Like, what if the opportunity comes along for that job or that relationship, but you haven't had a chance to build the strength and the resiliency or the expertise within yourself, and you doubt, you're like, oh, I don't know, I can't put in for that job. I don't, haven't learned ABCXYZ or have that credential. Take a deep breath. What you're doing is you're giving yourself the opportunity to say, I'm not looking for the easy way necessarily. Okay, we're looking for the way where we can move with ease. We can have an easeful flow. We still might have the challenges. We might still have the ups and downs, but that builds the resiliency. And through that, we find that we might overcomplicate things sometimes. It makes life more just complex. So simplify this week. How can you make your life more easeful? All right, I'm going to take a moment to pull a card for that Virgo moon. What's most important that you need to know? Four of Ghosts. So this is a Four of Cups. The grass is not always greener on the other side. So all the stories you've been hearing, all of the social media highlight reels of how great it is, and you think, why am I falling short? Why is this not working for me? Everybody else makes it look so easy. I'm working so hard. Right? I'm saying this because I need to hear it, right? Because we all struggle. And this is just saying, take a moment. There's an incredible opportunity right underneath your nose, all that candy right underneath your nose, something being offered to you. I'm just seeing it's almost like a little, it's like a cup of hot cocoa that ghost is offering, a little cup of hot cocoa, all this deliciousness. But this person, they're closed off. They're not open to receiving. And here's the cool thing about the Libra energy is the Libra energy, because the sun's in Libra right now, even though the moon will be in Virgo on Friday. Libra energy is about relationships, and it's about being able to give and to receive. And many empaths, they tend to give and give and give until they're depleted. It can be hard to receive. So just notice in your life where your heart has been hoping and wishing for things. Are you open to receiving, even if it doesn't look like exactly what you imagined? And I'll go back, to the story of Joe on the rooftop with the floodwaters rising. We've all heard this a million times before, where, floodwaters start to rise around Joe's house, and he climbs onto his roof and he's like, God, save me. And the neighbor comes by in the canoe and says, Joe, hop in. I'll get you to safe, dry land. Joe's like, no, that's okay. I'm waiting for God to save me. Then next thing, the big motorboat comes by, search and rescue. Joe, hop in. I'm going to save you. We're going to take you to dry land. Make sure you're okay. Joe's like, no, I'm waiting. God's going to save me. Then the helicopter comes as Joe is perched on the top of his chimney and the floodwaters are touching his toes, and they release down the ladder. And Joe's like, no, that's okay. God's going to save me. And the helicopter leaves. And the next thing you know, Joe's in heaven having a conversation with God at the pearly gates. And Joe says, God, why didn't you save me? And God's like, I sent you 3 options. You said no to all of them. Because it didn't look like how Joe had expected, right? Maybe thunder and lightning bolt, God coming down from the heavens, the angels lifting him up off of the rooftop. Sometimes, we live in a physical world. So we have earth angels who act on behalf of our spiritual angels and guides and of God. Think of those times where you just felt compelled to buy coffee for the person behind you, or to hold open a door, or to say a nice word to a cashier as you were leaving the checkout. That is you working as an earth angel. You are inspired maybe by their angel who said, you know what, Sarah's having a really hard day today, and she had some really disgruntled customers. So just remind her of her beauty, or remind her of something incredible that she's doing to lift her spirits. And you say it. And you never know how you've touched that person's life, what a difference you've made. So those little hints and nudges and inklings, as I call them, that's you working as an earth angel. And it happens to us as well. So we may not always have these wild spiritual experiences of lights flashing and out-of-body experiences. Hey, you worked really hard to get here into this physical human body. Enjoy it. Use it. It's different when we're on the other side, at least from everything that I've picked up along the way, studying with other teachers, receiving insight and guidance and transmissions. But, we're not going to know until we get there. But I do feel very strongly that we're blessed with this physical body. It helps us to achieve things so much more quickly than when we're just in spirit form. Don't rush to get out of here. I'm glad you're here. Okay, Saturday, Virgo moon. So we're still in that efficiency, simplify energy. Great day for cleaning the house on Saturday. Get your chores done out of the way early, because the moon goes void after 5:10 p.m. Eastern. So again, that's kind of like, I'm just going to coast and chill evening on Saturday. That's the biggest thing with Saturday right now is kick back, relax, bring in some time where maybe you listen to some, good music, or you watch maybe a renovation show. Good for a Virgo moon. How can you make the most of the energy? Sometimes I get frustrated when I'm like, you can't make this stuff up, but you can't make this stuff up. 4 of bats, that's the same with 4 of swords, which is rest. It's the card that says rest, take a break, relax. There he is, sleeping in his little bed. His kitty cat is with him. The moon is bringing through sweet dreams. Rest on Saturday. Give yourself that Sabbath and rest. Enjoy. Sunday, the moon moves into Libra. So we're looking more for balance and harmony. Hopefully your energy will be restored at that point after resting on Saturday. Think of it like preparing for a marathon. And I was listening to one of my favorite teachers, and she was talking about preparing for birth and giving birth. And I felt the same way when I taught prenatal yoga. I prepped my students this way, and I prepped myself before I had my little ones, which is giving birth to something is like preparing for a marathon or running a major race. You're thinking about a big picture, not a sprint. So you need to train like an athlete. What do you need to do to get physical, mental, spiritual, emotional bodies ready for this big birthing experience? We need rest for sure. And I'll never forget, right before my son was born, I taught yoga that Saturday, and I told my husband, I said, "Oh, I think Chase is coming tonight, Saturday night." And I freaked him out. He didn't sleep at all. We both were up. I had the surge of energy, that nesting energy. So we were up all night long. And Sunday, I was like, okay, I need to make sure I rest because I'm getting ready to go into labor. I know it's going to happen any moment. And I need to eat a really good meal to get my energy up because at some point, digestion is going to shut down. I'm not going to be hungry. So I need to get my energy up. And so I followed that instinct. And sure enough, I took that time, and then everything started to kick in, and Chase arrived. So pay attention to that. Saturday's rest day. And Sunday, we're just going to ask, how can you make the most of this Libra moon energy? See who pops up. Queen of Bats, Queen of Swords. So now this is the visionary, the CEO. She has rested. She came up with the plan. She listened to her intuition. She tuned in. So now she's going to put together the big picture vision. Here are my goals. Here's the blueprint to work towards what I want to achieve so that when the new moon hits on Tuesday, October 21st, you'll be able to plant those seeds into your new moon rituals, say your new moon wishes, and you can move from there. Okay, so it's a fun week. And part of the things that I'm going to encourage you to tune into, kind of the reflective question, is what are you ready to release this week so that you can shine more authentically and you can co-create truly the life of your dreams? Because it's not just you. You're tuning in and you're creating with God universe, and you're working with the angels. You're not on this path alone. You have friends in high places, your angels and your guides. So thank you so much for being here. Please do like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get notified when I go live each week and when I share additional wonderful little tips and hints and practices. I'm truly grateful for it. It helps with raising the energy and the vibe all of the world. It doesn't take everyone in the world to make the shifts, just enough of us, because it ripples out truly. So Hannah, thank you for the birthday wishes. Julie, thank you for being here live. Jazz, thank you for being here too. And Shannon, good morning. So glad you made it live. All right. I will catch you all here next week, Monday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern on my YouTube channel. Much, much love to you. And remember, trust your vibes and follow your heart. Bye, guys.